Are we filming? Yes, we are. So welcome to, there's no way of, that I can easily put this. Welcome to the first podcast for a very, very long time. 2 months, 3 months, I'm not sure. But I just want to get straight into it. So this podcast is where I am responding to comments that you, the viewers, have sent to me. Today I'm going to go in reverse order. So some of those that you've sent to me 3 months ago, very, very sorry, but I can't comment on those. But I'm just going to go backwards, starting with one I received today. We'll see how we get on. This is going to be about an hour. So put it on pause. Get the drink of your choice, buckle up, and here we go. Okay, so a viewer, MZ Moth, says, and this is in regards to the book. The book is a handwritten journal for my descendants. I talk about why, what, where, etc. So that is the title of the video, which I made last year. But anyway. MZ Moss says, I can honestly say one of the things that disappoints me most is the fact that almost nobody, in my experience, has thought to try and communicate with people of the future. It's clearly important. I always wanted to do that as well. Always had the intention to try and aim it at specific descendants. I know I'd really like it if I knew someone tried to think of me before I got here. It'd also be good to try to predict certain things so those who read it know you tried to imagine their life. Now, there's a lot to unpack there, isn't there? I think that's a cracking and absolutely brilliant comment, which I'm going to give the comment of the week, actually. Maybe the comment of the month, seeing as I haven't done one of these podcasts for over a month. So I am writing the book, if you like. It is a book that is aimed to be read, that my intention is that it will be read by future descendants after I'm long gone. I hope that will benefit their lives. One of the reasons why I'm doing it is because with very few exceptions, my ancestors didn't bother. But one or two did. And that is really, really interesting. And when I read what they have written in the past, in the 19th century, 1859, that sort of time, the hairs stand up on the back of my neck. And it's not specifically aimed at me, per se, but I feel that because they are my ancestor, they are writing for me as a, perhaps that's how I feel anyway. And it's certainly how I feel when I write. I call it the book, but it's just basically a journal, isn't it? But what I try and do is put in things that may interest them, that may fade with the passage of time, like addresses and dates and observations of life that may not be recorded elsewhere in history. It's an interesting thing. But anyway, thank you very much for your comment. I really appreciate that. Okay, next one is my review of the Kaweco Liliput EDC, that's Everyday Carry fountain pen. So Average Pen Guy, I like that channel name. Average Pen Guy says, I want one, but other pens are in line first. Looks like it writes pretty good. Well, it does write really, really good. I'm very, very pleased with it. In fact, I'm so pleased with it that, do I have it here? No, I'm just going to get it. Right. So, sorry about that. I'm just going to leave that pause in because it's not too long. But what I have been doing is I've been using it in my EDC, my Portland EDC, which is the one where I I have dispensed with the rings because the rings collapsed on me. That's a well documented episode. But I do like having a pen tucked behind these are treasury tags. And it works really, really well because this is absolutely indestructible. You can really pack it out with lots of things without having to worry about breaking the rings or exceeding the capacity of the rings. And there is just space here for a pen that fits behind the treasury tags. And I have been using, up until maybe a couple of weeks ago, I've been using my Parker IM, which is a full size pen, and it's sort of you can see it's sort of slightly top heavy, as it were, but it's okay. Whereas the Liliput is a really, really good fit. And I love it, and it writes really good. Yeah, very, very nice. I like. I know one of my channel members was discussing this with me, and he prefers to have a pen that is instantly ready by just clicking it, and I like that too most of the time. But there's a certain satisfaction with using a pen that takes just a few seconds to unscrew and then post like this. Gives me a few seconds to think about my first sentence. So I love it, and it really flows very well. This particular one is secondhand. I've done the review, showed it secondhand. It's a brass version, and it has a certain patina or patina, which I like, and I specifically bought it for the patina, or we say patina in the UK, but it's the same thing, isn't it? But I like it. I really, really like this pen. There's the only downside, I suppose. I mean, the cartridges are Kaweco cartridges. I use a brown ink. Kaweco ink is very smooth flowing ink, so that's one of the things I really like about this pen, because you can leave it a couple of days. Not that I really leave this a couple of days because I'm using it as my EDC now, but it is something that you can either leave a couple of days and you open it, well, it instantly write. You don't have to get it working again, which, as we know, is a problem with some pens, particularly with my Parker IM. Even though it's got a fairly full ink cartridge, and it's Quink ink, which generally has a good reputation, so I'm led to believe in terms of flow. It's quite dry, and so you've got to use it every at least every couple of days, otherwise you'll struggle to get it working again. But this one, for some reason, works really, really nicely. Medium nib works for me. It's nice, and it is at the moment my current EDC. Lovely pen. Okay, so we're still talking about the Liliput EDC, and Sunny, one of my channel members, says, I love the look of this pen, Neil. You're making this temptation a threat to my budget. Well, I don't want to influence anyone with their spending purchases, but yeah, it's quite an expensive pen. Certainly in the UK, typically if you pay for this really, really nice looking clip, you're looking at about £75 new for the brass one. I was lucky. I bided my time. This has been on my acquisitions list for at least a couple of years. I found the right one on eBay some time ago, a couple of months ago, I think, and bought it for the right price. I took a risk, because you always take a risk with something that, is quite old. These are, I believe this design goes back decades, but this looks like quite an old one. It's got a quite a patina to it, patina. I took a risk, and I'm delighted that risk, any risks were unfounded. It writes really, really well. But yeah, it's one of those things where you either fork out the cash for a new one, or you take a risk. But I was lucky. Whenever you buy something secondhand, you take a risk. But especially with fountain pens, But I was all right. Someone else says, this is from Fardin W. Okay. I like the extra seconds spent posting my Hongjan M2 brass fountain pen. It's just wonderful. After watching your video, I'm also tempted to also purchase the Kaweco Liliput. So thank you for your honest reviews. I greatly enjoy watching them. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Fardin W. I've not come across the Hongjan M2 brass fountain pen, but I will have it in my memory banks. So if the opportunity arises, or I see a review of it online, I'll have a look and see what it's like. But yeah, so another person that likes that slow 3 or 4 seconds delay, which kind of, it's a bit like, I mean, I used to be a smoker 20 years ago. I've been smoke free for 20 years this New Year's Eve. And I remember when I was a smoker, when I was, an impressionable 20 something, and you'd be sitting in an Oxford cafe smoking Galois cigarettes because you would think they were cool. And someone sent me a voice message, but this is more important. But I'm just going to put it on silent so it doesn't happen again. And there's that thing. There's that thing where you tap the crumpled packet on the cafe table, because back in those days we were allowed to smoke in cafes. Not allowed now. It's completely illegal in the UK. Has been for many, many years, which is a good thing, I think. But back in the day, you were able to smoke in cafes, and they would actually say, do you want a smoking or non-smoking area in the cafe, as if there was some magical barrier between each side of the cafe, and smoke particles never drifted into the non-smoking part, in inverted commas. It's when you think about it, it's a bit laughable, but that is the way it was. So you had the traditional thing where you'd have a small cafe, and you would sit there and have your coffee and your Galois cigarette. And there was this process of sparking up where you'd knock a cigarette out of the packet, and then you'd use typically your Zippo lighter, petrol lighter, to light it. And it would have to be a certain type of Zippo lighter, preferably a really old one, like World War II sort of age. And it just made the whole process more enjoyable somehow. I know that's stupid, but the same thing I think applies to this pen, which might be very, very old. I don't know, but the design goes back decades. But I wonder how old this is. And as I'm unscrewing the cap and posting it, it imbues me with a sense of purpose and historical aesthetics. I like it. Anyway, I'm waxing lyrical there. I shouldn't really. But thank you for your comment, and I hope you find one of these. I hope you're tempted by one of these, I can thoroughly recommend it. Although I have heard some bad reports, especially with the fine and extra fine nibs, where they're not quite right. But medium. This medium works fine for me. But caveat emptor. The Tom's Studio Loop. I don't have that pen on me right now, but you'll have seen the video, no doubt. And one of my very one of my channel members who's been a channel member the longest time, Claire, says, "I love my Lumos and now I need a loop. On a lanyard, I'd wear it around the house and garden for note-taking and annotating. I have enjoyed both the videos. I just checked with the website and it fits the longer Lumos Pro. Ideal. Nice to see you looking so good. I was worried about your health. I hope you're doing well." First of all, and most importantly, thank you. Thank you for your kind words and best wishes. I'm just digressing here, but I've had a number of people wishing me the best of health, and I'm sure that has boosted my health, because I was in a bit of a bad way. There was a point about 3 months ago where I wasn't sure whether I would do any more videos, because my physician, my consultant, if you like, told me that I might, in his words, be in hospital many weeks, possibly months, with 3 exclamation marks. So that was a bit of a worry. But I have made quite a successful recovery. I'm, checks and health checks and hospital visits and that notwithstanding, I feel really, really good. So thank you very much. Now, back to the main point. The main point is this Lumos loop. Yes, it does fit on both the mini Lumos, which is the one I have, which is about the same size as the Kaweco Liliput. It also fits on the Lumos Pro, which is the full size pen that's basically almost the same shape and size as my Lamy ST here. And also the Duo, which is basically 2 mini Lumoses screwed together, so you've got 2 inks in one pen, if you like. So it will fit all 3 of them. And although it's just a few pounds, I think £7 or £8. What a handy thing. So I wish that other manufacturers of pens would come across, create a similar thing. I mean, I do have, as many of you know, I've got a few of these TWSBI Ecos, which I rate highly, very, very highly indeed. And you will notice that there is a hole here to fit maybe a small keyring and lanyard, and so you can put it around your neck. But it hangs at a slight angle, whereas the Lumos version, it's perpendicular, which is fine. But yeah, it is a great thing. So Claire, I hope you get hold of a Lumos loop. Bit of a tongue twister there, but there we go. So thank you very much. Okay, the next one is this the cheapest leather notebook? That's the title of the video, and that is the question. So it may not be, and it probably isn't, but it's certainly the cheapest one I have found. So just to recall, I bought this notebook. It is, do I have it here? Yes, I do. So this notebook, which is an A6 notebook cover, and you'll see that the flatability is absolutely superb. It's really high quality cowhide. I believe it's cowhide. It's kind of got it's got a fantastic leathery smell. I mean, it's okay. I'm not too keen on this bookmark thing. I don't know what's going on there. And this single what I've been told is a card slot, a credit card slot. Not too enamoured towards the pen loop, but it's okay, and at least it's outbound, and it's a single piece of leather, which passes my pen loop tests, if you like. Must be outbound, must be a single piece of leather. None of this folding nonsense to make it look as if it's a thicker piece of leather when it isn't. I'm not sure what I'm going to do this, but just as a reminder, in the video I said it was Amazon. It wasn't. I made a mistake. It was eBay, and it was. Although this is new, it looks new. Well, it certainly was wrapped up. It was made in the Hongjian province of China, and it's an A6 notebook cover with the two pockets here to fit the flaps of the notebook. In fact, you even get the notebook with it. So I mean, you can't ask for much more when you consider that, including shipping here in the UK, it costs £6.36. Amazing, absolutely amazing. I don't know whether they made a mistake or whatever, but there we go. However, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I am tempted, I am minded to fit some rings, because I've actually bought some rings for this very purpose off Amazon. I know it's Amazon, but I can't go to a shop that sells ring mechanisms, because there isn't anywhere where I live. There's no stationers for the love nor money, so it is an online thing, unfortunately. But I've got some rings, and so I don't know whether I will. I don't really know what I'm going to do with this. It might be I might turn it into a 6-ring personal organizer, or I might just keep it as a notebook cover. I'm not sure. I think what I might do is fit some rings, but then remove this pocket and remove this pocket, and just have it as a single piece of leather. Fit the A6 paper in the rings, and then cut this with a razor blade to exactly match the outline of the A6 pages, because A6 is very repeatable, isn't it? You just get a whole stack of A4 paper and just fold the pages into 4 pieces of A6 and cut them, and then hole punch them and fit them. So I might just do that. But there we go. Now, what the seller says is AliExpress is good for these types of covers. The top left tab is a bookmark. Thank you very much. Always nice to see the pen loop in a good place too. So yes, so the pen loop is definitely in a good place. And thank you about the bookmark thing. You're not the only person to suggest that it's a bookmark. So I'll go along with that. I'm happy with that. AliExpress. Now, I've never been a customer of AliExpress, or Temu for that matter, but I might be just for the purposes of familiarization. I mean, it is the way of things, but I don't do the politics, but let me just ask this to you guys in America. So obviously, Mr. Trump at the moment is very, very keen to put punitive tariffs on imports to encourage entrepreneurs and businesses in the US to make things, whether it be cars or indeed something like that. So my question is, given the wage levels in America are much, much higher than in the Gongduan province. I've got that wrong, so forgive me if you live in China. Could you make this in America? Could this be made in America and shipped to the customer for the equivalent of £6.36, which is probably about $7.50 at the moment, as I record this in June 2025. I may be wrong on that, but £6.36, so maybe $7.50. Are there any companies or people that know would this be possible at that sort of price? I'll be interested in your comments. I'm not saying it can, or I'm not saying it will, but I'm just interested in how much would you have to charge the customer to make a profit, to be viable, because every business has to make a profit. Just how much would this have to be priced at for including shipping for that company to make a profit? Any ideas? Let me know. I'm not judging, by the way, but it is an interesting dilemma that the US are facing at the moment. Certainly, I mean, I have been connected over the decades with the bicycle industry, and certainly the bicycle industry is facing with these tariffs. There are a lot of satellite distribution centres connected to the bicycle trade, and I don't mean the bread and butter trade. I mean the high end, the very high end trade that are just closing down. They've stopped shipping to America. Period. Because it's just not with the tariffs. It's just not financially viable. But interesting. Certainly in the trade the industry I've been involved in, it's been devastating. And what do? They just shut everything down. There we go. Okay, Sunny, who is a channel member, says, I guess it's a difference in... We're talking about a podcast a long time ago, podcast episode 11, and Sunny is going through he's watching all my previous videos, and there's over 400, so there's a lot to get through, but that's very kind of Sunny to do this. And he says, and this is, I haven't actually rewatched podcast episode 11, so I'm not quite sure what it's all about. But this is what Sunny says. I guess it's a difference in our culture, Neil, but my and Sunny, I believe, lives in the States. A difference in our culture, Neil, but my fondest life-changing events in my life are because two of the most organised, accomplished men I've ever known carried a personal-size organiser, and they accomplished ongoing legacies in their lives. They got so much done. So these are two guys that carried filofaxes or similar, personal-sized organisers. One was a business partner of mine that had been a NASA engineer, and some of the things he designed are orbiting the Earth. I mean, that's just awesome. That is just absolutely awesome. The other was my pastor that travelled the world speaking and writing books, so it's almost like a badge of honour to carry this tool, i.e. the personal-sized organiser. I think you're a very accomplished person like they are, and really inspire us. I know we have talked about this before and totally understand your cautions in carrying an imposing notebook, but I just thought I would share this story with you. Right, so I get this now. So in the past, and I think this is what I talked about in episode 11 of the podcast. So and this is a uniquely British problem. I don't think it's a problem in the US, but if you take, let's say you take any Filofax, so let's take this, which I believe is a personal Portland. So this is the traditional, when think about Filofaxes, this is the sort of thing that a guy might carry, possibly black. In fact, actually, if you add up all the options in the Filofax repertoire, their catalogue right now, although some people say, well, they're all pretty colours and aimed at women, etc., it is a fact that there are more options for black filofaxes than any other colour, and that's still the case today. So that is interesting. It's an interesting point, is it not? But if I was carrying this in the late 90s and onwards, what happened was this Filofax was a symbol of the yuppie. Now, yuppies were young, upwards, young, up-thrusting professionals, something like that. I'm not even sure of it, but we, at the same time as the Filofax boom was fading in the early 90s, say, the Filofax in several comedy programs became an article of, it became an object of ridicule. And there's a famous there's a famous comedy series in the UK called Only Fools and Horses that starred David Jason, very famous comedy actor, and Nicholas Lyndhurst, equally famous. There was this feature, there was this episode that featured as an object of ridicule a Filofax, black Filofax, personal size, just like this. And if I went to work with one of these, I'm sure that I would get, they would be absolutely laughing and laughing. They wouldn't stop laughing. Serious. I'm absolutely serious. It's hard to convey to people in other countries just how much of an object of ridicule the Filofax became. And so people stopped using them really, really quickly, including me. And even now, I don't like using this. I wouldn't dream of using this out and about. However, if I'm carrying a slimline one, like this Woozy Studio one, not a problem. In terms of me and how I feel about it. So I can only go by how I feel. But if I use one of these, not a problem. If I use this as an EDC, not a problem. If I used let's take this, which is an early 4-ring Filofax, the early pocket size, if you like, not a problem. Why? Because it looks like, to the untrained eye, it looks like a Moleskine. I'm okay with Moleskine style notebooks. People think it's okay. I'm labouring the point here, but it is a thing about personal size Filofaxes which are recognised by people as, and perceived by people even today, as an object, as an object of ridicule. And so I don't want to be ridiculed, so I don't use it. I use the others. This one, particularly the mini size ones like this plotter here. I'm okay with it. I'm absolutely okay, but not the standard personal sized Filofax like this. I just don't do it. I just don't feel comfortable with it, and that's my call. So it is interesting what Sonny says, that and I'm pleased that he's shared this with me. Hey, that's pretty cool. A pastor going around the world and a NASA engineer. We're using Filofaxes. I mean, well, awesome, absolutely awesome. I mean, respect. So there we go. Okay. Okay. Next one. Is this the cheapest leather notebook? And we're just going back to this for a second. Okay. And And Sunny says again, I think the bottom cutout is a credit card slot, Neil. Okay, so thank you for that. I appreciate that. And several people have said the same thing. So I guess that checks out, because you can't always be wrong. You must all be right. So thank you. And then someone else says, Lauren Gaffin says, nice leather, and it's to do with this. And I think this is exceptionally nice, especially for £6.36 delivered. An immersive voice, which I think that's a fantastic channel name. Immersive Voice says, these days Chinese full grain leather notebooks are getting cheaper, and it is really good. I have a few from AliExpress. So this gentleman, I believe he's a gentleman, has had several from AliExpress. I'm gonna have to do my homework here and have a look at AliExpress. Maybe that's the way to go. I don't know. I can't really say anything about the moral issues of international trade. It is a fact of life. I haven't bought anything yet from AliExpress or Temu, for instance, and there are others as well. There's Alibaba, isn't there? Or there was. I'm not sure what the situation is with Alibaba, purely because I've never bought anything through those channels, so I don't know whether it still exists or whether it's going strong. I really don't know. I think there was some sort of political issues over Alibaba, wasn't there? Anyway, I don't know anything about it. Okay, is this the best Filofax ever made? And we're talking about this is the shorter version, which I made just for the wider viewing public, about this Sandhurst, which somewhat controversially I suggested was possibly the best Filofax ever made. And Gmax here says, I could hear you were flirting with the tangents in there again when discussing leather provenance and flatness, i.e. flatability. Good to see you've got acquainted with the Sandhurst model now. It's certainly one of my favourites and qualifies as a top choice of the post-80s era. And I absolutely love it. The plastic cover still on that new Filofax would be a hindrance to satisfactory opening, but I expect the behaviour wouldn't improve much without it. And Gmax, you're not wrong. And I'll give you a quick demo. Okay, so what I did, I compared the fantastic flatability of the Sandhurst, which do I have here? No, it's not here. It's in another room. I've got too many here. I think I've got close to, or maybe exceeding over 200 Filofaxes and other binders. Now, I've been a bit mad over the last year, but I compared it to this one. Now, this is a Metropole, which is not the cheapest, but it's kind of like the budget end. And I bought this secondhand. It never been used. I just kept the plastic on it to remind me that this had not been used. But I demonstrated the flatability or lack of it. But let me take the plastic off just to assure ourselves that the plastic is not making it any worse, because the flatability any worse, because if I do this, you can see that this is a brand new, or at least never been used. This is a Metropole, which from a flatability perspective is useless. I couldn't use this. You can't open it. I'd need I say this all the time, don't I? You'd need an assistant to hold it open while you used it to stop it going pa-ding. So, yeah, it didn't help that I did the demo with the plastic, but clearly it is what it is. It's a useless Filofax which cannot be used. Perhaps, but you could use it as storage, perhaps, but you can't put it on the desk and open it and start using your other hands to chat on the phone or your keyboard on your laptop and still be able to write things in it. You'd need some sort of mechanism to keep it open. Which can you imagine a car? You buy a brand new car, which when you open the door, you've got to get someone to hold open the door, because otherwise it's going to snap shut before you've even got halfway into it and injure yourself, you'd send it back, wouldn't you? You'd say this car is not fit for purpose because the mechanism for holding the car door open isn't working, or they've decided to save a little bit of money by making sure that the opening latch on the locking lever, they decided they'd save a few dollars by not having that notch put into the lever, because they thought, well, nobody's going to notice that the fact that you can't open the door and keep it open. Well, of course, as soon as you use it, you're going to notice. And it's the same with something like this. When someone buys a Filofax like this with no flatability whatsoever, the instant they open it like this, they're going to notice that there's no flatability. I mean, they're not going to think, but that's fine. They're going to go, I'm sending it back. You know, I suspect a lot of binders with zero flatability do get sent back for one reason or another, but you know, they don't say, you know, they don't really understand flatability perhaps, but won't be a sec. Oh, excuse me. I didn't know I was going to sneeze, but I'll just leave it in because this is real life, isn't it? Oh, excuse me. Okay, so that's enough about the lack of flatability. The Filofax Finsbury. Now, there is an interesting thing. The whoever designs the Finsbury must have been as mad as a bag of cats, because as Kevin says, now this is an interesting thing, because I wasn't sure, and I'm never sure about the age codes, which you will find under the typically under the strap. So you'll find one here. This says VAX, and there's a lot written and discussed regarding the age code, the codes, the 3-letter codes on Filofaxes. And in my review of the Filofax Finsbury, I was deliberating, which is probably a bad thing because I don't really know much about the codes really. But Kevin appears to know a lot more than me. And he says, and this is very interesting, he says, using single year models and comparing the date codes, the 3rd letter starting at A being 1989, gives a consistent match for catalogue dates for all my binders. So clearly Kevin has a lot of binders. So he's been able to figure this out like a detective. He says the first letter is wrong for most of them. The chances of this being random is very low indeed. So your Q and X codes would be, in Kevin's opinion, 2005 and 2012 respectively, which kind of checks out. So so he says that this one, which is like a Mark 1 version, this was potentially made in 2005, according to his theory. And this one, which I believe is a Mark 2 version, which is the X, is 2012, which fits in what the catalogue says about these. I've used the catalogue resource on the Filofax website. I'll leave a link in the description below. Very, very good resource. But it's a strange one because I can't compare these completely, because this is a standard one with the 23mm rings, and this is the compact model, which is quite rare. And yet the original one, the Mark 1 from maybe 2005, is completely useless. You can't use, to me, I mean, some people might use it for storage, but that is unusable. And yet this one, the Compact from 2012, albeit the leather is really badly worn, it's just awful. It's just awful. Has excellent flatability. And as I often say, the reason, it's not rocket science. It's if Filofax took a look at these, they wouldn't have to invent the wheel. So this one, the Mark 1, I mean, it seems to be a bit random. So this has a stiffener that it feels like it's in one piece. And that is not good for flatability. It makes it virtually unusable. Whereas if you have two pieces of stiffener, so you've got this one here and this one here, and they end here, you can feel it underneath the lining. So there's no stiffener going around the spine. You can if you have two stiffeners, one on each side, then the hinge is looser, and so you've got excellent flatability. I would have thought that someone in primary school will be able to deduce that of the two construction methods, this one with zero flatability and this one with good flatability, this one works better. I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether it was pure accident, because this is a later one. This is probably 2012 and this one's 2005. But the thing is that Filofax are still making Filofaxes with useless flatability. So why is that? It's very random, isn't it? Because they used to have pretty good flatability. Then they ended up with rubbish flatability, some of them. Then they went with good flatability. Now they've got bad flatability. It's like the ship has too many captains, and there's no one at the helm. There's no one steering the boat, but there's a lot of captains on the forecastle saying, "More sails, please, more sails." Regardless of whether the actual item is fit for purpose. But perhaps a little bit cruel, but harsh but fair, in my opinion. Okay, someone called, I love this, Pine Cone Life. Love it. That is a really nice name. And this is the commenting on the review of my Tom's Studio loop. Now, they are responding not about the loop, but they're talking about mid-roll ads, because I have been asking people, because of this new change with Filofax, with YouTube. So basically what's happened recently, just to recap, YouTube have obviously it's their platform. They exist not to provide a free service. They're not a social provider. They're there to make money for the parent company Google, and Google have shareholders, and that's obviously the same as any other company. And in their infinite wisdom, what they've done is they've decided to put pressure on content creators such as myself and every other content creator. And what they've said is they want, instead of me deciding when and where to put mid-roll ads, typically if it's a longer video, I might put one, maybe two mid-roll ads, but typically one. But from now on, I think from the 15th of May, they want their own AI to insert ads where they think it might be appropriate. Now, apparently, they have increased revenue by 5%. So it's not a major difference, but clearly they're showing more mid-roll ads. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it, would they? And what they have said to everyone, including me, is they say that if as content creators we don't agree to allowing YouTube to insert automatically mid-roll ads, the visibility of our videos may be, in inverted commas, restricted, which means they're not going to show, there is a a deterrent for holding out against ads. So I have just said, okay, I think what I've done is I've made sure that they won't do that on older ones, but as from mid-May this year, newer videos will you might see mid-roll ads. So what I've said to everybody is, can you please let me know, so because I see, everybody sees different ads. That's how it works, according to the sort of videos you watch. So as I understand it, if you watch a lot of videos about fountain pens, then some of the videos that you watch, that you are presented to you, will be to do with fountain pens. So that's I guess the idea of it. Certainly that's what happens on Facebook. You can be looking up fridge freezers, and suddenly there's a whole load of fridge freezer ads pop up. It is inevitable, isn't it? But anyway, I digress. But basically, this person, Pinecone Life, says one very short mid-roll ad didn't bother me. So that's not too bad. But can you, if you have the time, if you're commenting anyway, let me know in that comment, including that comment, your experience of mid-roll ads, because sadly I don't have any control of them. I'm just keeping my hopes that it won't make the viewing experience a bad one. I'm sure YouTube wouldn't want to do that either, because that would maybe be they should be shooting themselves in the foot doing that. But obviously, if you become a YouTube Premium member, and some of us are, it turns night in today because you don't see any ads at all. And I've been a YouTube Premium member for about a year. I couldn't go back. I couldn't go back. I mean, the ads seem so annoying. Sometimes I go onto a different computer and I'm looking at something in YouTube and I go, and ads, oh no. And so I have to stop and then go onto my own channel so that then I can watch that video ad free. So it's a bit tricky. But of course, I mean, you would expect me to say this. You can watch all my videos completely ad free by becoming a channel member. Channel membership costs you around about £1 or the equivalent in your currency wherever you are in the world, and there are various perks like exclusive content, etc. So let me know. We're coming up to 53 minutes, so I'm gonna stop at the hour. But let's crack on. So Sonny, a channel member of mine, says, and this is to do with the Flatability Podcast episode 5. So Sonny is going back to the beginning, I'm sure. Genuine leather claims should at least be from an actual animal. Sometimes we order things, it's most likely not leather. It's so disappointing. And yet I have ordered a 5-ring no-name binder for $15 US, and it's wonderfully smelling thick leather. Well, I'm not cognizant exactly of what I said in podcast number 5, but I'll give you an example of my frustration, because I share that frustration, because things are described as leather. They're even described as genuine leather, and then in the small print it says genuine PU leather, whatever that means, or vegan leather. I mean, that's annoying as well. I was looking for a desk pad that I could put my laptop on, a big sizable piece of leather that would be genuine hide, and I could just put on my desk. I think it's called a desk topper or something, maybe sort of 3 foot long by 2 foot wide to cover my desk. And I must have looked about 100 different ones that were described as leather, and not a single one was genuine leather. Not a single one. So I gave up. All I'm after is a desk pad made of leather, and I could not find one. Not at a good price, anyway. So I've just given up for a little while. But I just fancy a leather, a piece of leather. I might. excuse me, I might end up just getting a piece from a leather wholesaler and then just cutting a piece out of it, and then the offcuts I can use for something. That I think that's what I'm going to do, but I could not find a decent. I think they're all about under £50. I couldn't find anything that was actually leather, even though when I searched for leather items, all these came up, but there was, yes, it's PU leather, or it's vegan leather, or some other kind of leather that isn't leather. I think there are issues with cheese and champagne, etc. Are you allowed to call champagne from Spain champagne? Probably not. What about Gloucester cheese? Does it have to be made in Gloucester in England? I don't know, but it is very awkward and confusing and annoying, because we're all under a budget of time, and you can never get that time back. Okay, that's over-egging the point, but you get my drift. Okay, so I'm just going through, scrolling past comments made on members only videos, and then we come to comment on the review of the Filofax Finsbury again. So which is this one? Okay, the one I don't like, but bought anyway, just to demonstrate how useless it was. But people's experience may vary. You might get a good one. I don't know. So Ivan, one of my channel members, says, I've already commented on the members video, so I won't rehash what I've already said, but I didn't realise that there were Finsburys with good flatability. Right, so Ivan is pointing out that he's watched both my videos. He's watched the members video, and he's also commented on it, and now he's watching the video I made for the wider viewing public. These aren't just extended videos for the channel members. They are, I literally start from scratch. I make 2 videos, one for channel members, one for the wider viewing public. And it's sometimes worth watching both of them if you're a channel member, because you never know what's going to be in there. And they might sometimes be recorded on a different day with a different mood. So hopefully there's something for everyone. If you're a channel member and you've already seen the first one, which, as you know, you normally get a few days before the one I release for the wider viewing public. But anyway, Ivan says, I've already commented on the members video, so I won't rehash what I've already said, but I didn't realise there were Finsburys with good flatability. Well, I didn't either. I wouldn't mind a compact version in a brown or black colour. Yeah, the yellow one I bought because it was yellow and it was cheap, but I would like a black or a brown one in compact form as well. I did get a day runner binder that I need to share on my Inktronics blog. So if you're watching, check out Ivan's blog. There we go. Bit of a plug for Ivan. Check it out and share on my Inktronics blog channel sometime. I think you would appreciate it. Okay, and then carrying on with comments about the Filofax Finsbury, Notability says, well, this is my belief. The people that produce modern Filofaxes don't use Filofaxes at all, thus all the design flaws. And I'm going to leave it there, because this is an issue. This is an issue. Notability raises a good point. How many people out there, I mean, this is a rhetorical question, but just think about it. I don't know how many executives, for want of a better word, are involved in the Filofax range at the design stage. But how many of those designers use a Filofax? I don't know. It's a genuine question. My own personal opinion is, given the designs, the modern designs, I would say that the number the number of executives using Filofaxes? Probably 0. I know that's controversial, and I'd love to be proved wrong. If you are a Filofax executive and you are using, for instance, a Filofax Finsbury, and you absolutely love it, and you designed it, and you are perfectly okay with 0 flatability like this, then please let me know. Please share with the group that you love your 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 Finsbury with 0 flatability. And also, if you do you have an assistant to hold it open for you while you use it? I mean, I'm being facetious and flippant, I know. I don't mean to be. Well, maybe I do. But the thing is, it's an important point. I think that if you design a product, you really need to use it to get a feel for that product. I just get the impression that designers for Filofaxes don't use them, because if they did use them, they would design them to be more easily used. And it's very, very easy to do that, because they don't have to redesign they don't have to reinvent the wheel. All they have to do is look at some of the models that they've made in the past, dissect them, and I've dissected a couple, haven't I? Filofax College, and many years ago Filofax Kensington, and basically all there was inside were lots of layers of cardboard, or at least it looked to me like several layers of cardboard. But I do vent my frustration sometimes that here am I. I'm a massive Filofax fan, and yet if someone says to me, "Oh, I love that binder," say I'm using this one. I'm not using this one at the moment. I just bought it to satisfy myself about the quality of it. I was just curious. This is a Woozy from China. I think this is from Hong Kong, actually. No, from China, mainland China. And they say, "Oh, well, that's fantastic. I used to have a Filofax many years ago." And I say, "Oh, this is similar to a Filofax. It will take the same paper, but it's made by Plotter or Woozy or I don't want to say all the brands that I'm a big fan of." And they say, "Well, which model shall I get?" And I say, don't get a Filofax. If you're going to get a Filofax, get a vintage one, but make sure, trust me, make sure that it has good flatability. And many of the older ones do, not all, but many of the old ones do. But if you want something brand new, then I would get a Me Plus. I would get a Woozy, or I would get a Plotter. It's difficult for me to say always get a Me Plus, because Me Plus supply me free of charge with their products as they come out. But I actually do think Me Plus are better than Plotter, because they're better finished, and they're a little bit cheaper, and crucially, they will sell you one if you're in the UK, whereas Plotter, for some reason, don't want to sell me one. I reached out to Plotter and said, "Hey, I love your product. I'm in the UK. Are you able to, are you able to ship to the UK?" And the response I got was, you could hear the whistling of the wind. Nothing. I think I tried twice. Not a single response. Whereas Me Plus, the same day, same date, and that makes a big difference. And they will ship to the UK, as will Woozy. So you don't necessarily have to buy a Malden or one of the more upmarket binders. You could get some, especially if you like the sort of minimalist design where there are no pockets. If you want something that has got pockets, then if you want something that does have pockets, then I would recommend one of these Van der Spek. The quality is simply sensational. It's a little bit more expensive than a Filofax. So at the bottom end of the range, you can buy a Filofax in W.H. Smith's if you're in the UK, or John Lewis, or indeed in TK Maxx, very, very cheaply, and probably the best value, especially because you don't have to worry about import duties because they're in the UK already. And one thing that Filofax does have is excellent customer service. You can buy one, and if the rings are, if there's a problem with the rings, and I have to be honest, every new one I have bought over the last couple of years, I bought three new ones. All three of them had two of them had problems with the rings, and I didn't bother sending them back, but problems. But I would go for a Van der Spek if you like all these nice pockets, which are lovely. The quality is really, really good, and they use Krauss rings, which are the best. So I would go for one of those. And if you are after a minimalist binder, then I would go for Plotter, Woozy like this, or Me Plus. And if you want something vintage, then look on eBay, and this is a lovely thing. You could get a top, and when I mean top quality binder, a used one for, I can't remember how much this costs. I think it cost me £50. And do you know what? For something that could last someone a lifetime, they could buy something like this as a student, where everything is top quality. The leather is sensational, and it's got the Filofax logo, which is nice. I do like the Filofax logo, and this will last. You can buy this as a student for £50, and it will last 50 years. So it's only going to cost you £1 a year. I don't know anything that is more of a bargain. When you consider that one of these, the good quality ones, in real money, I believe this would have been, when it was new, if you extrapolate that price to the current day, I mentioned it in the review, but you're getting on close to £200. Or you can buy one in used but good condition for £50, for instance, and this trumps any modern Filofax. Why? Because it's made out of proper leather that even after 50 years use, it will smell fantastic. Whereas a modern, I know this is 20 years old, but if you get a leather Filofax today that has this sort of plastic coating on, it doesn't smell of leather at all, and you run the risk of, if you use it extensively, instead of wearing gracefully, it kind of goes all funny. It goes all funny because once the thin veneer of leather wears away, you can see the cardboard underneath, and that's not a good look, in my opinion. So I've ended with a bit of a rant, but thanks very much for watching or listening, if that's what you're doing. A little bit longer than an hour, but I will endeavour to do a podcast more than once every 3 months. So maybe in a month's time, maybe a bit sooner. Who knows? But until next time, thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for your comments, and goodbye.